Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for being with us. I am so excited to be able to introduce you to one of my friends and an amazing entrepreneur, Miss Julie Pershing. So let me tell you just a little bit about Julie, and then let's get started. Julie is a book coach, a publisher, not only a publisher for others, but she is my personal editor and publisher for my Are You My Flock book. She's the founder of Gallivant Press, and she's now the founder of Premium VA Solutions. So she helps aspiring authors turn their stories and their expertise into published books. She's offering coaching and publishing support for nonfiction, fiction, poetry, you're going to want to hear about that one, and memoirs. Julie has over 20 years of writing and editing experience. She's known for her supportive coaching style, her commitment to keeping your voice authentic. She also helps entrepreneurs streamline their business with her VA agency, and Julie is passionate about making the writing and publishing journey clear, encouraging, and empowering. So thank you so much, Julie, for being with us today. I am so excited to have you on and have you share your voice with the world.
Well, thank you for having me, BJ. It's a pleasure to know you and work with you and to be here on your podcast.
Aw, thanks. So curious minds want to know, how in the world did you get started as a book publisher?
So, my journey started when I was a lot younger. I always thought I could write a book. I never really knew how to write a book. What was the process? Do you just sit down and write? Do you start out with once upon a time, fill in the middle, and then at the end just say the end? I had no idea how to do it, and I knew that there had to be a way or a system to do it, but I didn't really sit down long enough to figure it out, but I just in my mind, I couldn't figure it out. And so then I had an opportunity to go to a book writing seminar. And I thought, well, I'm going to go to that because I want to know how you do this. And, you go to seminars and you're not ever sure if they're really going to tell you the real,
Right,
meat of how to do it. But
right.
this guy, it was a really good seminar. He had a method that he used, and the method made perfect sense to me. And I thought, oh my gosh, I think I can write a book. And so the next day, I go back to the seminar, and that was the day where he presented his offer. And it was about $50,000 to write a book with his company. And I was flabbergasted. I just thought, $50,000? Are you kidding me? And he kept talking about, some of the methods that they use. And I thought, well, I could do that. And he was telling people to take money out of their 401k, go get a loan, and people were flocking to the back of the room to work with this guy. And I was more in my head thinking that is so much money, and I couldn't even wrap my head around it. And so, true to myself, which I do this a lot, I thought, well, I can do this. And I've done that my whole life. And I jumped in and I thought, I'm going to figure out my method and have a framework. And then a friend of mine came to me and he said, I had somebody help me write my book and it's terrible. And I feel like you could help me with it. And I said, well, yeah, I can do that. And I'm thinking to myself, what are you saying? Like, are you insane? You've never written a book. But I have a lot of writing and editing experience in my background. And so I took his book and we rewrote it together. We did recorded interviews and I kept everything as close to his voice as I possibly could. And he ended up with a book that he loved. And so then I had to figure out the publishing process. And so there was, some back and forth with that, figuring that out. And then from then on, I was just like, this is what I want to do. I love this.
Nice. Very nice. Well, I have to say a little bit of kudos because I know that you walked me through the first creation of Are You My Flock?
Yes.
And I could not have done it without your guidance. And I have no clue how to publish. I mean, you can sit down and write sometimes, but the formatting, making sure that you spelled it right, making sure that it is legible, that was a beautiful process. And I really appreciated your guidance with my book. I guess that's why we're on here together, is because
Right.
I want to offer resources that I think are amazing. So along this way, this journey of yours to become a editor and a publisher,
Mhm.
what were some of the struggles that you dealt with? Because as entrepreneurs, nothing's ever completely smooth. We learn, like you said, I
Yes.
can figure this out.
Yes. So, a lot of my struggles and things that I learned had to do with technology, like how to actually get it published, how to get a website set up for myself, how to do the formatting and the editing in a way that I could work easily with my clients and not make them go insane trying to figure out like how do I respond to this. And so a lot of it was technical. And the thing about how, oh, I think I can do that, it serves me well, but it also doesn't serve me well because sometimes I think, oh, I can do that. And then I'll spend 8 hours trying to do that thing and I still can't figure it out. And then I'm so frustrated because I think, why can't I figure this out? And instead of spending that 8 hours trying to figure it out, I could have just hired someone and that maybe take an hour and it would be done. And so like getting kind of out of my own head and realizing that I don't have to be the expert of everything, even though I'm a solopreneur. Well, now I have a team, but at the time I was a solopreneur. And so I thought I had to do everything. And oh, can I afford this? Well, can I afford 8 hours of not working on the things I need to be working on? Or can I afford to go on to Fiverr and find someone who has expertise in that area, has good reviews, and is reasonably priced, and just have them do it and take it off my plate. So I did learn how to do that, and just kind of get out of my own way sometimes. I mean, there's sometimes where I think, okay, I'm going to figure this out. And then after an extended period of time, I might say, no, you're not figuring this out. So let's find somebody. And I can ask BJ because she has a great audience and a great number of connections that I can go and say, hey, do you have someone who can help me with this? Or like I said, I can go to Fiverr or I can go to my other friends and associates. And so that had really, really, especially when I was first starting out as a solopreneur, it really helped me to like stay in my zone of what I should be doing and not trying to do all the things all the time.
That is so true. Though, I mean, I think for most entrepreneurs, especially when they first get started, small to mid-sized entrepreneurs, they feel the need to wear all the hats.
Yes.
It's either someone doesn't see it the way I want to see it, they're not going to create what I want, they can't see my vision, or I don't want to spend the money. So,
Yes.
with that thought in mind, what do you think would be a really good checkpoint for most entrepreneurs to say, okay, I've spent this much time on X and I'm not getting anywhere. Where else can I spend my time to create income or impact? And where can I look for someone to do this job that I feel comfortable handing it over to? What do you think's
Mhm.
that checkpoint?
For me, a lot of times it's a time checkpoint.
Okay.
So I'll give myself 2, maybe 3 hours.
Okay.
Because sometimes if you're doing something, it takes a little bit of time to get into it and then look at it and then, do what steps you think are necessary. But after 2 to 3 hours, if you're not making progress, then
Mm,
you need to step back and say, okay, I'm not making progress. Am I going to make progress? Like, am I near the end or am I still spinning my wheels? Because if I'm still
yeah.
spinning my wheels, I need to ask for help. Like, I
Okay.
need to throw out the line and reel in somebody to help me.
Right. And a few resources, like you mentioned, might be
Mhm.
Fiverr or reach out to Julie. She has a VA connection.
Yeah.
reach out to
Yeah.
me. I know a lot of people. So,
Yes.
yeah, that's a really good checkpoint. Okay, so thinking of the people that you love to work with, the people that you want to make an impact, let me ask you this. As you think about those people, what is the number one reason someone would want to write a book?
Oh my gosh. Well, if you're a coach, a speaker, an entrepreneur, probably your number one reason to write a book is to get your message out there or your program, your signature system, so that you can work and impact more people. For someone who's writing a memoir, poetry, or something like that, it's a lot of times it's for legacy. Like,
Mm,
I want my family to have this, or I want people to know what happened to me or in my, my situation.
okay.
And a lot of times it's just that you have something in your head that you're like, I need to get this out, and I need to, for my own healing. And that was my very first client. It was for his own healing, to get his
Mm,
story out and kind of make amends with his past.
nice, beautiful. So, with that thought in mind, who is an ideal client for you that you would love to work with and you just know that you can help them impact the world?
So I started out doing nonfiction business building books. And so, really, my ideal client is a coach, a speaker, or an entrepreneur who wants to build their business using a book as the foundation. And I say it all the time that BJ is my perfect client, because that's what she came to me with, or you came to me with. And you said, hey, I have this thing I do, and I want to put it in a book, and I want to use it with my clients, and I want to get more clients through this book. And so we worked together to get her book published. And then once the book was published, you have done such a good job of promoting your book and keeping it at the center of everything you do. And so if you go to one of BJ's beach retreats, even if it's not about the book, it's about the book. Like, the book is there. We talk about the book. I've been to her retreats, and so it's just like, something that is kind of ingrained in everything she does. And then I keep saying she, you, I'm sorry, I'm all these tenses. But also then she came to me, or you came to me and said, I want to do a Spanish version. And so that was my first Spanish book that we published. And I mean, so it's just like someone who really has that entrepreneurial mindset and is like, okay, what's the next big thing I can do with this? What's the next big thing I can do with this? And
Okay.
I really feel that that's what you do. And I do have my own signature system that I walk people through and get their book, from idea all the way to published book, in a way that is clear, simple, and designed to fit a hectic lifestyle.
Beautiful. I do know that's exactly what you did with my book because you can sit down and write something, but yeah, again, having it in the right format or knowing how to actually publish it, that was way outside my wheelhouse. So if you want that guidance and you want the opportunity to show up as a number one bestseller on Amazon, number one new release on Amazon. Julie's the person to talk to because she made that happen with our book launch. And I've got that little label that says number
Yep.
one new book release on Amazon. And it just feels great. It really is fun. And having a book as an author or as a coach, that really does help brand you. So again, Julie, thank you.
Yes.
You did a fabulous job. And we have two books together out there
Yes.
for you. Now, you mentioned that you also have the opportunity to help people with a VA service. And so
Mm-hmm.
not only Fiverr, which we can all access, just tell us real briefly about that other service that supports your clients.
Yes, I am super excited. We just started it. It's called Premium VA Solutions. And when I looked for my first VA, I was looking at some other VA agencies, and they all wanted you to hire someone at 20 hours a week or 40 hours a week, and there wasn't anything in between. And I didn't feel like I had enough to keep someone busy for 20 or 40 hours a week. And I didn't even know where to start with them. And so with this new company that I started, we have different packages and different opportunities to work with a VA where you're not locked into a certain number of hours per week. If you write a book and you just want help with social media, we have a package for that. If it doesn't even have to be a book, but if you're an entrepreneur and you say, I just need somebody to take over my social media and get this off my plate, then we can do that for you. And so we do have a lot of different options. You can hire our VAs to do 20, 40 hours a week, or you can hire them for, a book launch or a product launch or social media, or if you just need help with your email, you don't have to hire a full or half-time VA. So there's a lot of options there that I think is exciting because it gets you the experience of working with a VA. And once you work with a VA and they take something off your plate like that, you cannot believe the freedom to do your own work, how that feels. To not have to, like for me, social media was crippling.
Oh, yeah.
And so I would think I have to do my social media. Oh, I can't do it. I hate social media. And then I would do nothing. I was paralyzed.
Yeah.
And so now I have my VA doing my social media for me. And we have a strategy and a plan that we use that I use with my clients for the agency.
Good.
And it is like so freeing and just makes you feel like, oh, I can do so much today because that's not even on my mind anymore.
Nice. Well, people are going to want to reach out to you. So I want to make sure that they have the ability to connect with you. What is the website that they can go to reach you when they have some questions?
Sure. So my juliepershing.com is my website, and it's JuliePershing.com.
Okay.
My publishing website is called Gallivant Press, and it's gallivantpress.com. And the VA agency is premiumvasolutions.com. And if somebody wants to contact me by email, it's hello@juliepershing.com.
Wonderful. So be sure you check the comments for any connections so that you can reach out to Julie in person. Julie, you also have a couple offers for our listeners today or our watchers. So would you share with us your free offer and then your paid offer so that people know how to connect with you and what you can help them with?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. So my free offer is called 5 Steps to Writing a Business Boosting Book. It's a PDF guide, and it helps you to learn how to write a book that builds your authority, attracts clients, and grows your business. And so BJ is going to have the link to that. It's a free offer, and it's a great place to get started if you're interested in doing or working on a book to get your signature program out there, or anything to do with your entrepreneurial journey. And then my paid offer is called Authority in Print. And Authority in Print is a combined book coaching and publishing program. Normally they're separate, but I've combined them because I work with so many entrepreneurs, and this helps you from the start of your idea all the way until your book is published. And we just work together the whole time until it's completely done. And it's very cohesive, and it's not like, oh, you do this thing and then you have to decide to do this thing. And then my business model is a pay for services program. And so you pay for the services to get that all done. And then once your book is published, it is your book, your copyright, 100%. You get all of the royalties. My journey ends once the book is published, and then it's all yours. And I also do a free discovery call. So if anyone wants to just talk about what it would look like to get a book out there, has an idea about a book and thinks, would this work for my business, and just wants to, go through it with someone, I'm happy to jump on the phone and help with that.
Okay, and I'll make sure that we put that discovery call link in the comments below for sure. Now, I also heard that you created something very cool for your mom.
I did.
Would you share that with us?
Yes, I'd be happy to. So my mom has been writing poetry for her whole life, ever since she was little, and she um, just has kept all these poems. And so I told her about a year and a half ago I'd be happy to publish a book of her poetry for her. And so she sent me all her journals with her handwritten poems. Because
Aw,
I kept saying, well, just type it up and send it to me. And she just mailed me these journals. And so she turned 88 in April, and we published the book on her 88th birthday. And it's called Pages and Poems, A Life in Poetry. And it is, and I went in and I did illustrations. I did digital illustrations that matched the poems. And so it was really a labor and a labor of love.
yeah.
And it's just great. She's so happy with it. She's already has it in 2 libraries and a bookstore where she lives. And she ordered, I think, 50 copies, and she's out of them. She's going to order some more. So she's been giving all her friends autographed copies, and it's really a family legacy. And it's just super special. When you're 88 years old, the things that she wrote about when she was a child are, it's really interesting and sweet and charming. And so we did make it to #1 bestseller with her book. And she's just so thrilled with it. And it was just something so special to do for her and with her.
That is so cool. So that's one more thing for us, as entrepreneurs, as children of parents, as parents of our children, maybe think about what
Yeah.
could you do to pull those stories together and
Yes.
create something cool. This has been delightful. I can't tell you how much I appreciate having you on and your continued work to get people's message to the world and help them show up as their very best self. So thank you so much. I encourage everybody reach out to Julie, have a conversation, see how she can help you put your expertise or your story out there to the world. So thanks again, Julie. I sure appreciate you.
Thanks,
See you guys
BJ.
later. Bye bye.